Hello, everyone, and welcome to NFFC Champions Podcast Week. I'm your host, Greg Ambrosius, and all this week I'm going to interview the champions of our 2024 NFFC National Championships. Last year we gave out over $6 million in prizes, so let's talk with the folks who earned a whole lot of that money. My first guest of NFFC Champions Podcast Week is Philip Brubaker, our 2024 Rotowire Online Championship champion, and the winner of that $250,000 grand prize. Philip, welcome to the show.
Aloha, Greg from Hawaii.
I wish I was with you. I'm in Wisconsin. It looks very nice there.
It is nice. Beautiful weather today. We got water everywhere, mountains everywhere. I highly recommend coming out here someday.
I definitely will. All right. First of all, congratulations on winning that national championship against almost 4,200 competitors. We're basically 8 months away from that, but does it still feel like an unbelievable achievement that you had?
It still feels that way. It still feels like a dream to me. The whole time it's happening, you just don't think it can happen. Yeah. You know, you got to be honest with yourself. 4,000 to 1 odds. What are the chances? Yeah. And there's always somebody's team is going to be hotter than yours. Mm-hmm. So you just don't think you can do it. But things broke my way. I had a good team to start out with, and 4 good wide receivers, a great quarterback, solid running back, solid, tight end. Everything came through for me for those 3 weeks. So that's what you need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that, but I just want to ask you real quickly. You've been playing the game for a long time. Have you ever been this close to winning a national title?
No, because mostly I've been playing, lower stakes, with friends or, just a single, you win the championship, then you're done, for the league. Yeah. Never the grand championship of 350 leagues, right? Yeah. So, no, I never actually have come close to that.
All right. You live in Cocoa Beach, Florida. You said you're in Hawaii. Why don't you explain to everybody what you're doing out in Hawaii? You're not just spending all this $250,000. You're doing some stuff with family, right?
Right. So I'm not taking, the vacation of a lifetime. No. So I do have a son in the military. He's an officer. Very proud of him. He's a lieutenant colonel now, and as is his wife. His wife's a major. They're both officers. Have their family here, and now they live here. So we decided we'd take a vacation, my wife and I, and we came to Hawaii to be with them and take a little cruise around the Hawaiian Islands. So yeah, we're gonna spend a little bit of the money. Yeah. And but we're pretty cautious people with spending money, so we're not going to go crazy here.
Yeah, well, spending time with family is worth more than $250,000, right?
That's very insightful. You're absolutely right, Greg.
Yep. All right, so you're going to come to Las Vegas again this year. You're drafting in the prime time on Saturday, September 6th at 10 a.m. and again at 1 p.m. Now, as you know, we bring all of our past champions up there, all our past Hall of Famers up there. We call it the Stage of Champions. How cool is that going to be when you're the last one to be called up and all those champions and Hall of Famers are up there?
It's going to be such an honor. I mean, these are the best people in the industry, right? I really can honestly say, Greg, you run the best site in the industry. I've done a few others, and you're head and shoulders above everybody else. And the people that are in it are really a cool group of guys. And there's some really sharp people. Since I'm now a champion now, it's like I've been checking out the other champions a little bit. And it's like, wow, I'm in the same company as those guys. These are guys that have won lots of money over the years in your leagues. And I feel, very lucky to be part of that group of people. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. So we'll be bringing you up. We won't ask you to make a big speech. You may say thanks, but don't worry about that part. We'll get you back down there, and you can draft another winning team then.
Yeah.
But, it is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Hey, you've been playing in the NFBC and the NFFC for at least a decade. I think you're in Las Vegas most of the time when you draft with us, especially for football. You actually joined the NFBC first in 2014. Do you remember how you found our high stakes events?
Yeah, it was almost by accident. I've been playing for years with my friends in just self-contained leagues. And I thought, I need some bigger stakes here because these guys were not, raising the stakes all those years. So I said, I need something more. And so I just happened to be looking around a little bit, and I found you guys. I mean, I don't know how I found you guys. Whatever you were doing, it worked. And I said, this is like the best. This is my dream. And so I signed up for baseball first. Yeah. And I have to be honest, I'm not as good at baseball as football. It's a tougher game. I tell you, there's a lot more players you have to follow. Yeah. So, at my age now, it's like I can only follow so many guys, so football is a better fit for me.
Yeah, well, you're following Major League Baseball players, but you're following the minor leagues as well, right? And it's a marathon, I always say, baseball, compared to a sprint when it comes to football.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I have to know who the starting third baseman is at AAA for each team in the major leagues, you know?
Right.
So it's not just the major league players you got to know. You got to know who the prospects are, too.
Yeah.
So there's 500 guys. You got to know who they are at all times. If you want to compete, you have to know it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. You said you've been playing fantasy baseball and football with your friends in local leagues and such. How long have you been playing? I mean, you're in your 60s. We won't give it away, but how long have you been playing?
A little over 30 years. So my first year was 1992.
Nice.
And when I heard about it from my friends at work, I thought this was the best thing ever invented.
Yeah.
You got sports, you got competing with your friends.
Yeah.
You got to do, really good analysis. And it was the perfect storm of, what makes something fun for you. And I just couldn't believe it. And I was just so happy. And I wish I had it before. All these years, I loved sports even more. And I wish I could have done it then. But I'm making up for lost time.
Yeah.
I've been in it, really deep now for 30 plus years.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, I was in college and we were radio and TV majors at the time. We were playing APBA and Stratomatic, rolling the dice. And when we graduated, we were done. Like we didn't get together anymore, right?
Right.
And somebody heard about this in 1986, picked up the book and said, hey, we could get together once a year, drink like college guys again, and then still play this game. And that's how I got involved in that 1986. And then in 1989, they were looking for an editor of a magazine. I'm like, I could do that. So that's how it started. But you're absolutely right. It's the perfect game.
What's that?
It's the perfect game. It really is.
You're absolutely right. And you mentioned APBA. I played that in the 60s as a kid with my older brother. And I thought that was the greatest game at the time. To have all these little cards and like all your heroes, like Willie Mays.
Right.
And you roll a certain dice, like, a 66 was a home run, know.
Yeah.
So that's what you were looking for.
Yeah, that's why Stratomatic was a step up because they had right-handed batters and left-handed pitchers. It was like, whoa, now we're getting down to it.
It was sophisticated for its time.
It was sophisticated for its time, but rotisserie baseball took over, and now this is all we do. So you talked your son Alex into playing. He plays in Las Vegas. He comes to Las Vegas, does the NFFC. Did you father-son play together at all, or how did he get involved with this?
Yeah, we never did that, because we're both pretty competitive people. So, we weren't going to be able to share responsibility for a team, So I got him into it. And for years, he wanted to get into my league with my friends. And finally, we got an opening and we got him in.
Okay.
And then we disbanded the next year.
Blame Alex for that.
But Alex got the bug. He got the bug, and he's been he's been a passionate player ever since.
Yeah, awesome. All right, you said he's competitive. Did he call you and to congratulate you after you won 250, or was he too competitive to do that?
Oh. He's still a good son. He's still in my corner. Yeah, he was actually visiting for Christmas when it happened. Nice. So him and his wife and their kids.
Nice.
So yeah, he was there every step of the way for me. I think he was happier for me than I was for myself. And he was all in on it. He was so excited for me. Yeah.
I noticed you name your NFBC team's Brew Crew. I'm a Brewers fan. Are you a closet Brewer fan, or where does this come from?
Not really. Brew comes from Brubaker. It's short for Brubaker. Okay. Yeah, so it made sense to be Brew Crew.
Yeah.
And my son actually names his team's Brew Crew also.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Very good. This would have been the year to name it after the Brewers, though, because they are playing some good baseball.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, by the way.
Well, we haven't won anything yet, and it's been since 1982. We were back in the World Series, so we'll see what happens. But
all right. Well, I'm going to root for you guys, Greg, because I don't think the Tampa Bay Rays are going to do anything. So
yeah. Okay.
I'll root for you.
All right. So let's dig into this championship team if we can here. This is a team you drafted on August 9th, 10 p.m. Eastern, Rotowire Online Championship. It struggled in the head-to-head, which can happen sometimes, right? You were 6-8, but you led the team, or led the league in the highest points. You had 2,051, advanced to the championship round in the league playoff. Now you had 4 Rotowire teams, and you finished first, second, and third. You made the championship round in 3 of those teams. Talk about how it felt getting into the championship round and having 3 shots at this baby.
It felt great. I mean, my goal every year is to win every one of the leagues that I'm in. That's what I want to do. And I usually don't even think about, I can win the 250 grand. You know, I don't even think about that because it just seems so hard.
Yeah.
But I did like my 4 teams, and I picked a lot of them early. And you always run the risk, you know, of injuries and, you know, news coming out from the camps and all. But, you know, I gave it a shot and went early. So that team, as you mentioned, was picked on not too far from today's date.
Right.
This is a good time for people to be picking teams right now, you know, so hopefully, you know, people are doing that. But anyway, I figured with 3 teams in there, and all of them were pretty good scoring teams, I felt like I had a shot. And I didn't think it was my B4 team.
Yeah.
I didn't. There's a method to my coding, by the way. I didn't think it was my best team.
Yeah.
But you know, the good news was Mike Evans and Brian Thomas were both in a situation where they were like the leading receivers on their team. They had very little competition for, you know, points at the time. And then I had Amon-Ra St. Brown and T. Higgins. And the Bengals were lighting it up in the air. So I knew that I had 4 good receivers on that team, 4 guys that could really get a lot of points for me, and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So I felt really good. And then I also took the time to go out and get defenses that had weak offenses they were playing against in weeks 15, 16, and 17. And I got them. I got the Packers and I got the Chargers. And I got like 15 points a game for my defense during those 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So that move alone, Greg, I got to say, if I had not done that, I would not have won.
Yeah.
I would have lost by a few points. So every position's critical. You can't just look at the high scoring positions. You have to look at everything.
Yeah, that's a great lesson because a year ago, some people won the championships because they picked up Miami's kicker for $1 in week 14. And that guy went off those certainly week 17. But something as simple as that can win you 250,000, right?
Exactly. So you got to stay involved in waivers every week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about this Terminators B4 team. It ranked 449th out of 844 teams that made it into the championship round. Like you said, it's a long shot, but you got a 1 in 844, actually 3 in 844. It wasn't even your best online championship team, like you said. But it really means nothing because everyone's taking their weekly scoring average, so you're only a few points behind the leaders. And you moved up to second. So you went from 449th to second. After week 15, you scored 237.5. Talk about that.
That was my best week ever. You know, and it still is my best week ever, by the way.
Nice.
And it's something I never dreamed I could get. You know, you have to hit on every position.
Yeah.
And I did. All 4 of my receivers were over 20 points. James Conner was over 20 points at running back. Lamar Jackson, I think, got 40 at quarterback.
Wow. Yeah.
And my 1 week position, Greg, was my RB2 spot. And I drafted Travis Etienne in the 2nd round, which was a huge mistake, you know. And all season long, I was trying to make up for that mistake. And it was hard. It's hard to find, you know, starting running backs on the waiver wires, you can imagine.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I got enough points from those other high scoring positions that it didn't hurt me. And I had my best week ever. I think it put me in 2nd place going into the 2nd week of the playoffs. So at that point, I'm sitting there going, wow, I have as good of a chance as anybody to win this thing. So I actually legitimately thought I could win, but I certainly didn't expect it to happen. That's
Then in week 16, you scored 178.15. Not bad, but you dropped to 7th. So how did you feel at that point? I mean, you got a chance to cash at least in the overall, something up at top 40 overall, right?
So here's how I felt. It's like 178 is a pretty darn good week.
Yeah, right.
But I lost ground. I mean, it's like you have a really, really good week, a week that would win any week during the regular season, but you lose ground.
Yeah.
So then I started looking at the teams that were 1 through 20, like who was in their lineup. So I was looking for similarities. I was looking for like what players do I have that they don't have, and I started scenario planning, and I felt pretty demoralized after doing that. I have to admit, Greg. There's this one guy, Labar. I forgot. You know who he is. Yep. And I was like, God, that guy's got a good team. And he's like got 40 points ahead of me. How am I going to catch him?
Yeah.
And then he had a mediocre week the following week. So I caught him.
Yeah.
And so that's how I felt after the first week. I felt like This is the second week. So after the second week, I felt like, damn, this is really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I had a chance at that point because I was like 40 points behind. I was in seventh place, but 40 points behind.
Yeah.
I needed a miracle. That's what I needed.
That's what week 17 was. And it was over Christmas. So let's talk about that because that is a really wild time, right? It was like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days. So you got 3 Christmas presents on Christmas Day. 35.1 from Lamar, 22.4 from Travis Kelce, 16.2 from Jalen Warren. So talk about how you felt on Christmas Day at that point.
Yeah. So all 3 of them exceeded what I projected for them that week. So that was a great start, and it put me into first. So now everybody was chasing me.
Chasing you,
So I didn't think I could get back into that position. It was my first time actually in first place.
Yeah.
So now I was defending that spot at that point. So I was really hopeful. I still had Amon-Ra St. Brown. I still had T. Higgins, still had Brian Thomas.
Mike Evans.
Still had James Conner.
Yeah.
So I still felt like I had a lot of points coming to me the rest of the weekend. Yeah. So I felt pretty good at that point.
Yeah, well, you should have, because on Saturday, T. Higgins put up 41.1. I mean, you weren't the only one with them, but that one put you ahead for sure. Sunday, you got 29.7 from Mike Evans and 23.9 from Brian Thomas. Now, we still had that Monday night game with San Francisco and Detroit, but how were you feeling at that point?
Right. So I'm still in first, at the end of Sunday night, and I felt like I had a good lead. Again, I was looking at the other 20 teams that were in the running.
Yeah.
And there were some scary teams. Yeah. There were a lot of teams with Jahmyr Gibbs and George Kittle.
Yeah.
And those guys were just, Monty was hurt, I think, during those 3 weeks. So Gibbs was a guy that could put up 40 points any night, anytime. And Kittle could put up 30 points, because there's no other receivers really competing for catches.
Yeah.
I did not feel safe. And so I just needed Amon-Ra to get me 1 touchdown. I figured if he got me 1 touchdown, I would win it.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen, I think, till the second half. But in the first half, Amon-Ra caught a pass, lateral to J-Mo. J-Mo took it to the house. And I started looking at the teams that had J-Mo. I was like, oh my God, all these guys have J-Mo. I wasn't even worried about them at this point. So now I have to worry about all the teams with J-Mo. So I expanded my universe of worry. And but then in the second half, I'm pretty sure second half, Amon-Ra scored a touchdown, and I thought, okay, this is what I needed. I think I'm going to win. Yeah. Going into the final minute of that 49er Lion game, I think I was up by 12 or 13 or 14. I can't remember. But Gibbs was still in the game. And Kittle was always a threat to get an 80-yard touchdown pass. So any one of those scenarios, 80-yard Gibbs touchdown run, 80-yard Kittle touchdown reception, would have lost it for me. It would have been just enough to put me into second place.
Yeah.
And I did not rest easy until the final whistle. And even then, I was a little bit worried. I was sitting there going, okay, maybe there's a late statistic that hasn't
scoring changes.
Maybe there's going to be on Tuesday. Elias Sports Bureau is going to find something that they didn't know about, before.
Yeah.
But none of that happened, and I did end up winning. And the nice thing was my whole family was there, all my kids and their spouses, grandkids. So I got to share that with all of them.
That's fantastic. Yeah. You scored 216.5 in week 17. Like you said, David Webb, he scored 247.4. I think he came from 56th to second in week 17. Yeah. And we saw that last year. Mark Cerebro won the primetime going from 46th to first place. So, but you finished 13.28 points ahead, which is why you said a 14-pointer would have killed you. But it's unreal. Yeah. So I can just imagine that. Is that like a scary feeling, a happy feeling, a nervous? I mean, it's got all of them probably during that last couple minutes of that game, right?
It was mostly scary because if you can imagine going from 250,000 to second place, which I didn't even look
50.
to see what that was.
I think it's 50. Yeah.
I didn't want to jinx myself and even know what it was. So, that would have been a huge change in, the amount of money won. So, it was just scary.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Okay, you drafted from the 8th spot in this league. We have KDS. Was that one of your preferred ones last year or not? Do you remember?
What was the spot again? I'm sorry.
8th. You were in the 8th spot when you drafted. Yeah.
I I normally like the middle rounds.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason for that is if players are dropping from their normal ADPs and you can get them now at a bargain, if you're picking in the middle rounds or the middle spots,
Right.
You can get those players dropping every round.
Right.
Whereas if you're picking on the ends, it's like every other round that you can get a bargain. So I prefer the middle rounds. Now, that said, I also like to get 3, for sure studs with my first 3 picks. So, and that's constantly changing. I mean, you have to constantly be looking at who's going where.
Yeah.
And then you have to strategically say, well, if I get the first pick, then I can get these 3 guys. If I get the 12th pick, I can get these 3 guys, And so you have to look at that. You have to actually scenario plan the first 3 rounds to determine your best order. And right now, to me, I usually hate the 9 spot, but right now it's looking pretty good, because you get an early pick in the 3rd round.
Right.
And I feel like those mid to late 3rd round guys aren't exciting enough. There's some really, result separating talent in the first few picks of the 3rd round, at least in my opinion. So, but it changes, Greg. It changes all the time based on what's going on with ADPs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I assume you like 3rd round reversal because you're kind of in the 8-9 area there. You like that 3rd round reversal that we use?
Yeah, it's very fair. I mean, every time I look at this, I say, okay, if the draft order goes based on expected, the teams are very close. You know, if the players get picked, if you look at what you expect them to do, it's very close. I think the guys picking 1st and 2nd and 3rd still have a slight advantage, but it's definitely reduced. It's just not fair if you can get Jamar Chase. That you get to pick 24, 5. You get 3 of the top 25s, and one of them is Jamar Chase. So it's not fair. And I think that's one thing I got to tell you, Greg. I mean, you run a very fair operation. Fair. I mean, you have your rules and you stick to them, but your rules are fair. Your rules are very fair. So
some people don't agree with everything I do, but I agree with you. No. The last thing the number 1 pick needs is the first pick in round 3. That's for sure.
Exactly.
He's already got the advantage. He doesn't need more of an advantage. So
you're right.
Move on. All right, let's just look at your team that you drafted last year. You did Amon-Ra St. Brown was the 8th overall pick you took. You said Travis Etienne was a mistake, but he looked good last year at this time. Mike Evans, Travis Kelce, T. Higgins, Lamar Jackson, James Conner. It's a great start. But then Brian Thomas in the 9th round was too good to be true. Just talk about that whole foundation that you built right there.
Yeah. So you have to have a little bit of luck, and the luck being what the other guys in the league are doing. Okay. I mean, to get Lamar Jackson in the 6th round, I never would have dreamed of that happening. I picked him in the 3rd round of another one of my teams. So you look at that gap, 3rd versus 6th round. That's a miracle. And then Brian Thomas, I had no idea he was going to do what he did.
Nobody did.
And getting him in the 9th round, I thought, okay, he's a good wide receiver 4, and maybe as a rookie he's even better than I expected. Maybe he's a wide receiver 3. And then he became a wide receiver 1. And he was like almost the number 1 wide receiver for those 3 weeks. So by the way, I had the top 4 wide receivers during those 3 weeks. Those 4 guys I had at wide receiver were 1, 2, 3, and 4 during that 3-week period.
Awesome.
So that's what you need. I mean, and so what I think I might be something you want to talk about later, but in terms of lessons learned from this, it does, when you win something like this, it does change your perspective on how you go about your drafts. I mean, like I said before, I was just trying to win my league. Now, after you get a taste of, winning a championship, you shift your focus. And now you're thinking, how can I win that contest that you need all your players peaking in weeks 15 to 17? But you still got to make it to the playoffs in order to do that. So
that's right. That's the key. Get to the championship round, then get hot in the last 3 weeks.
Right.
That's how you win it. Like you said, free agency did help you when you picked up the defenses. Fab has been pretty barren, though, the last couple of years. I mean, your biggest one was Jaylen Warren, I think, for 249. But don't you agree that Fab's been kind of weak the last couple of years? It's tough to find, like you say, running backs for sure.
Yeah, it's gotten more difficult because all the people playing are smarter. There's more information, so therefore the drafts and the rosters that are getting managed each week are more more efficiently done. And
Right.
so there's just less sleepers, falling through the cracks that you can grab
Yep.
and really, get a surprise player that can really, really help you.
Yeah.
So you're kind of relegated to guys that other guys are dropping, that like Jalen Warren, somebody else dropped him because he got disillusioned with him.
Yeah.
He went through a stretch where, he wasn't doing anything. And so I was able to get him for 249. That was great.
Yeah.
And then a lot of players they'll stream defenses, they'll stream kickers, and that's where they spend, a lot of their fab money is doing the streaming thing.
Yeah.
But if half the guys are streaming, for defenses and kickers, it's not easy to get the ones you want. So I try to always look ahead. I always try to look a week or two ahead and then get those defenses or those kickers that can help me in the future. Yeah. And that way you don't have to compete. You can get them for $10 to $15 instead of like $40 to $80. I mean, kickers are going for or defenses are going for like $70 or $80. It's crazy.
Yeah. So Brian Thomas did lead you to the title. He's a rookie. When we were doing the live stream draft with you last month, we talked about these rookies. There's like 13 of them going to the top 100.
Yeah.
Are you in on these rookies, or does it have to be more like a ninth round for you to take a rookie this year? Or what are your thoughts on these rookies? Because they are going to the top 100.
Yeah, I'm generally a pretty conservative guy, and I'm a kind of guy. I must have been born in Missouri or something. You got to show me. You got to show me what you can do first before I'll take a chance on you. So I would definitely be on the lower end of buying into rookie hype, but I will try to get a rookie if I feel like the value is there. Yeah. Or like the floor, where they're going, I think the floor is there. And of course, the upside is always there with a rookie because that's an unknown upside. So there's a lot of value to getting a rookie, or it meets the ADP that they're getting drafted in. So I feel like most of these rookies are going in a good to best case scenario spot. Yeah. So the upside's kind of baked into their spot in the ADP. So I'm mostly staying away. I'd say on average, I got one rookie on my teams on average.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the one rookie last year, Brian Thomas, took you to the title. So hopefully that'll be. So
I'm looking for the next Brian Thomas. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what we're all doing
again.
So are you a Bucks fan then, or a Jaguars fan?
I'm a Bucks fan.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started off as a kid growing up, Greg. I was a Raiders fan, Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born out in San Francisco. My family was mostly from there. So we moved to the East Coast, and I grew up in Washington, D.C., but I stayed a Raiders fan for a long time. Yeah. But then they became kind of a joke franchise. I mean, it was just like they went from great to a joke. Yeah. So it was hard to be passionate about a team like that. But most importantly, though, I became involved in fantasy football. So my favorite team is always my teams. Yeah. So my favorite real team is the Bucks right now.
All right, sounds good. I enjoyed the Raiders when I was younger too. Dave Casper actually grew up in Stockbridge, Wisconsin, 15 miles from my place. So he
remember that famous play in the playoffs, "Ghost to the Post"?
Heck yeah!
That ball.
Yeah.
John Madden called that play.
Casper was a great tight end too. He really was. But all right. So you've done 6 Rotowire Online Championships already. I think you're taking a pause right now. Have you learned anything from these ones that you have been in? Maybe quarterbacks going lower, rookies going higher. Anything that you've learned that in the drafts that you've done so far?
Yeah. So every draft's going to be a little different, but there are still trends that are going on underneath, each individual draft. And one trend I'm seeing right now is that running backs, bell cow type running backs are going higher than usual. Yeah. And it also seems like RB2s are going higher than usual. So if you're pursuing a 0 RB strategy, it could blow up in your face pretty easily. So I am not consciously doing any 0 RB strategies because of it. And another thing I'm seeing is it's very hard to get a rookie at their floor. You're paying for their upside in so many cases. So that's a second thing I'm seeing pretty consistently. Yeah. The quarterbacks, they're like either going higher than you expected or lower than you expected. They're never about where you expected it. It's so sometimes you got to be the first person to break the quarterback seal, and I am happy to do that. I'm always happy to be the first person, even when I regret it afterwards, because there have been times when I broke the seal early and nobody followed.
Right.
So here I am looking at all these really good quarterbacks and I can't pick them,
Keep passing on them.
Yeah. So it's always risky when you take the quarterback early because, you miss out on a better opportunity later on.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I've been doing these live streams and the running backs just keep getting pushed up and up. I mean, there's like 12 that are going to the top 23 right now. We weren't seeing that early on. And the same with the quarterbacks. Each draft is so different. Those top 5 may go in the first 4 rounds or so, or people wait on them, and then all of a sudden Hurts is in the 5th round, and so it's each one has been very, very different. So
right.
I don't want you to give any scouting reports or anything, but are you seeing any players that are moving up? I'll just throw one out there, and that's one of your Tampa Bay guys, right? This Igbuka seems to be moving on up with Godwin's injury and such, but anybody else that you're seeing that's moving on up?
Matthew Golden, wide receiver for the Packers. I mean, when he was going in the 90s, I was like really high on he could be this year's Brian Thomas for me.
Right.
Camp reports have been good. Yeah, as you know, you're a Packers fan. He was the first wide receiver taken in the first round in like 25 years or something.
Yeah, 2003.
But it seems like word's out now. And, if you want him, you got to get him in the 7th round or maybe even the 6th in some cases. So I might still be willing to do that, but I'm hoping I'll get a Brian Thomas moment and be in a league where I get him in the 9th.
There you go. I don't think he's going in the 9th anymore. That's for sure. Not after Jaden Reed walked out in a walking boot for the game. I mean, that was crazy. All right, Philip, you have been our 15th different champion in 16 years. I mean, all of our national contests, it's tough to win twice. Chad's won it twice in this one, but what would it take to win this thing a second time? Heck, second time in a row, even maybe.
Yeah. And that is my goal, Greg. I mean, after you win one, it's like disappointing if you don't win it again, which is ridiculous.
That's right.
4,000 to 1 odds.
Yeah.
But 2 things I would say. Number one is I've completely changed my perspective on drafting my team. I mean, before I would draft to win my league.
Yeah.
And now I'm drafting to try to win weeks 15 to 17.
Yep.
So that does change your perspective a bit. Mm-hmm. And one thing that does for me is I got to have a top 3 or 4 quarterback, and I got to have 4 wide receivers that are the number 1 option on their team and have upside above their ADP. So, but they have to be kind of guys that can be in the top. They could be wide receiver 1s in any given week, so they got to have that kind of potential. You can't always achieve that goal, obviously, right? But that's the goal. And you can't forget about the running backs. You can't forget about tight ends. So that's the number 1 thing I've definitely changed my perspective on. Number 2 is you got to have more than 1 team. I mean, you really.
All right.
I mean, for a variety of reasons. I was just talking with my son. He's done a draft the last 2 days. So, and now he's addicted. He wants to do another one today. But the thing is, if I looked at the champions, and on average, they were drafting 12 teams last year. I looked back at the history of where champions.
Yep.
On average, those guys had 12 teams. One guy only had 1 team. I said, dude, I mean, you want all that money.
Yeah.
I mean, you can afford more than 1 team. So, so have more than 1 team. Yeah. So, I have 6 right now, as you mentioned. I like 4 of them. And you've got, now I think this year might be the first year you've got Fantasy Pros providing grades and scores to them. I don't know if you did that in the past.
Yeah, we've done it in the past,
Okay. Anyway, I got good grades on 4 of the 6. But I feel like I need more than that, to win. So, I might do a few more. And then, of course, got the Vegas with the prime time. So I'm looking forward to those.
Good. Well, I like it too, and I agree with you. I think a few more shots at the title gives you a few more percentages at the title, so it makes an awful lot of sense.
Rotowire. I mean, the Rotowire is a great price point. For $350, you can get 4 or 5 teams, for a very reasonable price, and you've increased your odds of winning by 5 to 1.
Right.
So, I want to recommend it to everybody, but we need as many people as possible in that pool, right?
We do. We want about 4,800 teams this year, so it's going to be good. Well, Philip, thanks a lot for joining me on the podcast, and congrats again on winning the title and the $250,000 grand prize. Enjoy your time with family out there. You're a great champion of this contest, and good luck in all your leagues this year. And I'll see you in Las Vegas, and I'll buy the first Corona, I promise, okay?
I appreciate that. Thanks, Greg.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks everyone for joining us today. Our next NFFC Champions podcast is going to be Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Greg Voskanian, he's our 2024 Classic overall champion. He's going to join me then. Should be a lot of fun. 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. To get in the game, go to playnfc.com.